All right, so if you've been anywhere near the crypto space, you've heard one word again and again: speed. Today, we're digging into the project that promises to be the fastest of them all, Solana. We're going to break down what it is, why it's been so controversial, and how it's trying to become the engine for a whole new financial world. Let's get right into it.
So to really get what Solana is all about, we've got to start with a kind of wild question. What if the stock market just never closed? What if you could buy, sell, or send pretty much any asset to anyone in the world instantly, 24/7? Yeah, it sounds a little like science fiction, but that's the vision we're talking about here.
You see, right now, it's like we're living in two totally different financial worlds. On one hand, you've got traditional finance. And let's be honest, it's often slow, it's definitely expensive, and for a lot of people, it's pretty exclusive. But on the other hand, you have the Solana vision, a system that's instant, costs next to nothing to use, and is always on. And that is the massive problem Solana was built to solve.
So let's dig into that first part, the need for speed. I mean, why do we even need a new financial highway? Well, you can think of our current system like a really old, congested toll road. Sure, it gets you there eventually, but it's super slow and it costs you money every step of the way. We are desperate for a new digital superhighway.
And believe me, this isn't some abstract idea. This stuff hits us in the real world every single day. Every single time a small business swipes a credit card, they can lose almost 4% just in fees. On a $100 sale, that's real money that just disappears into the system. That's the friction, that's the toll on the old highway.
So the big question is, how do you get rid of all that friction, all those costs? Well, you build a Formula One car. And honestly, that is the best way to think about Solana. It's a machine engineered from the ground up for one thing and one thing only: insane speed and efficiency.
But, and this is a huge but, here's where the story takes a turn. Anyone who follows racing knows that F1 cars, these incredible high-performance machines, are pushed so hard to the limit that sometimes they're prone to pretty spectacular failures. And well, Solana's early days were exactly like that.
I mean, look at this. The whole network was designed for mind-blowing speed, but as this quote says, that came at the expense of robustness. In other words, the engine was super powerful, but it wasn't exactly reliable. And in the world of finance, well, reliability is literally everything.
And that lack of robustness, it led to some really public failures. A complete network halt back in September 2021, another 7-hour outage in April 2022. These weren't just small glitches. These were moments that did serious damage to user trust.
Think about that for a second. 17 hours. Imagine you absolutely need to move your money, to make a transaction, and for the better part of a day, the entire financial highway is just closed. That's not a little inconvenience. That is a massive, catastrophic failure of trust.
Okay, so this is where the story could have ended, right? A failed experiment. But this is actually where it gets super interesting. Instead of just patching things up, the developers decided to go back to the garage and completely rebuild the engine to fix these huge flaws for good.
And this whole rebuild really boils down to two key upgrades. Think of Fire Dancer as a brand new state-of-the-art turbocharger. It's built for a ridiculous speed boost. We're talking over 1 million transactions a second in tests. But, and this is crucial, it also adds a backup system. Then there's Alpenlow, which is kind of like upgrading to a world-class braking system. It makes transactions final, like instantly, giving the whole machine way more control and stability.
Now that backup system I mentioned, it has a kind of technical name, client diversity, but the idea is actually super simple. All it really means is having more than one company build the engine. You know, it's like having backup engines made by both Ferrari and Mercedes. If a weird bug takes out one, the other one keeps the car on the track. It prevents a total network shutdown, and for reliability, this is a massive deal.
So, okay, the engine's been rebuilt, it's faster than ever, and this is the most important part, it's way more reliable. But the real test is anyone actually gonna get in and drive this thing? Well, it turns out Wall Street is looking at Solana as its new racetrack, and some of the biggest names in finance are starting to place their bets on this rebuilt machine.
And listen, we're not talking about some small startups here. Just look at this list. The absolute giants of the payments world: Visa, PayPal, Stripe, Shopify. They are all building on Solana. They're using its high-speed rails to move stablecoins all over the globe, making payments way faster and radically cheaper.
And it doesn't stop with payments. The titans of traditional finance are here too. BlackRock, you know, the world's largest asset manager. Franklin Templeton, Apollo Global.
These guys are using Solana to turn real-world assets into tokens, bringing things like money market funds into this new, high-speed digital world.
And you don't have to take my word for it. You can see the money flowing right here on the chart. In just the first half of 2025, the value of real-world assets on Solana shot up by 150%. The supply of stablecoins on the network doubled. This isn't just hype, this is real utility and real adoption happening right now.
All right, so this brings us to the final lap. The team has been through catastrophic failures, they've rebuilt the entire engine, and now they've attracted some of the best drivers in the world. But the biggest question of all is still out there. Can Solana actually finish the race and win the future of finance?
Really, it all comes back to our analogy. Solana is that Formula One car. It was taken apart piece by piece and completely rebuilt for the single most important race there is. It started out fast but fragile. Now the goal is to be both the fastest and the most reliable car on the track.
Look, the performance is it's undeniable. The speed is there. And with these crucial upgrades and all this institutional buy-in, it's finally starting to earn back the trust it lost. The machine is proving that it actually works.
And that just leaves us with one big final question. The car is rebuilt, the drivers are ready to go, but in the incredibly high-stakes world of global finance, where stability is the ultimate prize, can the fastest car always win the race? That's the multi-trillion-dollar question we're all going to be watching. Hey, if you got something out of this explainer, do me a favor and hit that like button. And make sure you're subscribed to the Coin Cobber channel for more deep dives just like this one. Thanks so much for watching.